Welcome back. Another day, another box watching episode. We are at episode 27, right? Yeah, 27. And we had 5 games. Pretty much all of them were good. If you count the Kings blowing out the Nets as a good game, but I think it was a good game because it was fun. And a lot of games went down to the wire or were really close, back and forth games. Let's talk about them. First, we had the Pelicans winning against the Grizzlies as they got Jaren Jackson Jr. back, but at the same time they lost Desmond Bane for 2 to 3 weeks with a toe injury. As as Jaren Jackson really struggled on offense, as he got back, he couldn't really get the feel for the offense. But he was really solid defensively, as he had 5 blocks in his return to action in 25 minutes. He'll get there. He needs to get in shape. Let's give him time. Dylan Brooks continues to be bad offensively and to take too many shots. He's really good defensively, but man, is he annoying to watch. I hate him. I genuinely hate the guy as a player. So there's that for me. That's a personal bias, but hey, whatever. Ja Morant, sensational today. Just it felt like he ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. He was kinda out of gas out there and just didn't have enough to defeat the Pels today. 36-8 for 3 steals. That one steal that went viral, which was incredible play by him. And you kind of worry. You kind of think, how is he actually a really bad defender otherwise? Since he got so much game feel, but he's kind of a bad defender. It's intriguing, but I don't want to be here to bash the Grizzlies. I really respect the Grizzlies. I really like some of their players, but it was just a rough game for them. And missing Desmond Bane, who is definitely my favorite Grizzlies player, is a really with Jaren Jackson is a really tough task for them. We'll see how they figure it out over these 2 to 3 weeks. As for the Pels, Brandon Ingram, 19.7 of 14. He's been kind of quiet these last few games, but he did enough. They once again missed Zion Williamson, not once again, but they missed Zion Williamson today as he is day to day with I think also to injury, but today it was the best game of CJ McCollum's season as he finally bounced back after a few rough games with 30 points and 9 assists. He was clutch, he made clutch buckets, he was great. Jose Alvarado was great defensively on Ja Morant in the fourth and made some tough plays. And also Larry Nance Jr., shout out to him. He's been really solid off the bench for the Pels, and he had another great game. Good win for the Pelicans without Zion. Next up, we had the Mavs winning against the Clippers as they moved to 8-5 on the season. And this was a weird game. Not a weird game, it was pretty good, but at the same time, the Mavs were up by like 25 points in the second quarter, and they gradually blew it, and it was a tight game at the end of the third quarter. The Mavs kind of feel like the most hot and cold team in the league. When they're hot, they're incredible, and they can get as cold as anyone in the league. They just rely on too much isolation. They just rely too much on Luka, obviously, and Spencer Dinwiddie, and it's kind of a rough watch for me. And especially lately when you really lock in on them, as I've been watching a lot more basketball this season, and it's a weird watch. The Clippers, shout out to them for battling back. They couldn't get it over the edge, but they tried their best. John Wall had one of the best games of the season for him. 17.6 rebounds, 4 assists. Good game from him. Nicholas Batum was 7 of 7 from the 3-point line, 22 points. Just minus 10, which is a shame, but it's an incredible stat line. Paul George and Marcus Morris were good, but it was not enough today. Yes, as they had to expend a lot of energy for the climb back, and they didn't have enough energy at the end of the game, where the Mavs got it done. Luka hit the clutch 3, and they didn't look back as he had 35, 11, and 5, as he always does against the Clippers. As he always does against almost everyone at this time. And, the bench was bad today for him, as no one really played solid. Christian Wood was solid offensively, but also bad defensively. Tim Hardaway didn't do anything defensively and offensively. But Dorian Finney-Smith had his first really good game of the season when he hit 7 of 13 3-pointers. Reggie Bullock had 4 of 8 from the 3-point line, which is his best of the season, I feel like. And Luka was great. Spencer Dinwiddie didn't have his best game, but he still contributed somewhat, and they get a good win. But man, does it not feel sustainable for Dallas? Does it feel like this is not sustainable? Maybe it is. Maybe Luka is actually a real-life superhero. Who knows? But it does not feel like it. We'll see, in 20-30 games how much it affects them and how it looks for them. Next up, we had the Knicks winning against the Utah Jazz, as the Jazz are getting kind of back into normal, and the Knicks continue to be, right there in the middle at 500 as they get a good win in Utah. And this was a really good win for the Knicks, as Jalen Brunson was sensational today. He had 25 points, he made some clutch buckets, 8 assists also. He's been sensational the whole year so far. Good signing for the Knicks, as I thought it would be. Jericho Sims, 11 and 13. He's been solid off the bench. Emmanuel Quickly, sensational off the bench with 13. Obi Toppin, 9 points. 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Didn't take that many shots, and probably good for the team. He was great. Cam Reddish continues to have a bounce back season. 19 points, he was great and keeps starting. Julius Randle had a solid game. RJ Barrett was solid, even though he took way too many shots and missed way too many. Even though he took and missed way too many shots, he probably should be around the 15 to 20 shot attempts range, depending on how he's playing that night. But it was a good win for the Knicks, as the Jazz are now on a 3-game losing streak. They've not been bad, but they've been shooting poorly. They had a rough, road trip, then they came back home, and they still didn't shoot really well, as Jordan Clarkson has struggled from the field, Mike Conley struggled from the field, Malik Beasley struggled from the field, and it was just a rough shooting night overall. And especially Colin Sexton was bad today. Simone Fontecchio played way too many minutes. THT was bad today, even though he's been pretty solid overall. And just a rough loss for him. Lauri Markkanen was still really good, but it feels like he was not as aggressive as he could have been. But still, solid game from him, but you need more. You obviously need more from him to win a game like this against the Knicks, who were coming off a bad loss against the Thunder, and they needed a win, and they seem to be like one win, one loss, one win, one. They seem to be on the pattern of win, loss, and well, the Utah Jazz just didn't have enough, but they're still, in a solid place. We'll see if when they stop losing streak. Then we had the Blazers winning against the Spurs, who were on a back-to-back after being destroyed by my Warriors. As the Spurs bounce back from a bad loss yesterday against the Warriors, where nothing was going right offensively, defensively. They were just bad yesterday, but today they showed up, they put up a good fight, but they kind of lost their energy in the fourth quarter, as they didn't feel like they had enough in the tank on a back-to-back. They didn't get enough production from their bench overall, as Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson struggled really well, and Charles Bass, even though he was 6 and 5 with 3 or 4 from the field, he was not good out there. Keita Bates-Diop, 5 of 7 from the field, he was not good out there. Trey Jones was great today. Trey Jones was great, not in terms of shot making, but in terms of playmaking, he was really good. Jakob Poeltl had his best game of his season, maybe. I'm not sure if he had a better game in his career. 31 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block. He was great. He turned the ball over a little too much for my liking, but it happens. Jeremy Sohan continues to be the Dennis Rodman, let's call him that. Let's just do it for the sake of it, for the meme of it. I don't know. He's good. You can see the value, but it's kind of, the comparison is silly to me. But good for him. He's been a great, addition for the Spurs. Keldon Johnson was solid. I kind of wanted more from him, but he was pretty solid out there. Tough loss for the Spurs, as they felt like they had it, but the Blazers stole it, as Jeremy Grant continues his best streak of his career, probably. He had some streaks with Detroit, but this is 100% for me the best streak of his career. He was 29 and 8, 6 of 8 from the 3-point line, sensational. Anthony Simons, 23 points, Dame 22 and 11. He didn't shoot particularly well, but he made the tough one, the clutch one in the fourth quarter, as after he got a huge block also. Good for him. Shaedon Sharpe continues to show so much promise. Drew Eubanks was sensational today. Great win for the Blazers. They're still missing Gary Payton II, who's gonna be a huge addition for them off the bench, and good for Portland. They're looking really good. The only thing I'm not sold for Portland is Yusuf Nurkic. I'm not trusting Nurkic at all. But hey, maybe they could trade him. I would trade him. Maybe they could. We'll see if they get a deal for him. No, let's not get speculative, but if I were to trade someone, it would be him for the Blazers, and they could get something maybe for him. And last but not least, we had the Nets getting destroyed by the Kings, who are a good team. They're great offensively, they got a good energy, they got to believe that they are good, and after a 0-4 start, they are now 7-2 in their last 9 games. They've been rolling offensively, they've been in a lot of games, because their offense is so great. The defense obviously could be better, but the offense is just nasty. Yes, well, for the Nets, let's talk about the good stuff for the Nets, as Ben Simmons had his best game of his, season, 11, 5 and 3. He looked aggressive, he looked good today, he looked like he was getting into something probably, but everyone else was bad. KD was solid, but it was nowhere near enough, obviously. They were just not good enough. They were just getting roasted. They were getting cooked defensively, and they couldn't stop anything Sacramento did. The Kings just did anything they wanted on offense, and that's not a recipe you win for. They almost shot 50% from the field, but if you allow the other team to shoot 60% from the field, they were 10% better on every, on three-point shooting and field goal shooting, so you're not winning a game like that. This was a great game for everyone, pretty much. De'Aaron Fox and Trey Lyles struggled a little bit, but who cares really, right? They were great. Terrence Davis had his best, had one of the best games of his career, probably 31, 9 and 4, 7 of 10 from the three-point line. He got to light up the beam, the Sacramento beam, and great win for the Kings as they are rolling. They got a good stretch coming up. I think they got Detroit coming to town, and the Spurs, maybe they got 2 very winnable games. They could be 9 and 6, 9 and 2, in the last 11 games after the 0-4 start. They're gonna be dangerous for the play-in and playoff spot. We'll see if they can, get to the 6th seed. I'm still not a huge believer because their defense is so bad, but at the same time the offense is so good. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they will outweigh it in the regular season, but I'm really happy for Kings fans, man. And that does it for today's slate of games. As I said, there were a lot of good games in which had a really good fourth quarters, and the Kings were fun to watch. They're fun to watch, actually. And today we have some good games, as we have the Hawks against the Celtics, which should be a good one in Atlanta. Heat Raptors should be a good one. Cavaliers Bucks should be a good one. If Giannis plays, which I think he is slated to play. And we have the Warriors against the Suns, which should be a good one also, even though Suns are a little banged up and the Warriors are not as good as I would, love them to be. But there are a lot of cool games tomorrow. I'll be here to cover them all, don't you worry, guys. And I'll see you all tomorrow for another box score watching episode.